Hi everybody, Nancy here from My Motivated Meals. Today I'm going to share with you one of my family favorite recipes for sweet potato shepherd's pie. Now I love this recipe for so many reasons. Not only because it's super delicious and very filling, but it's also great if you're following the paleo lifestyle or the Whole30 diet. This recipe is 100% compliant. If you follow along my Instagram, that is where I share all of my daily meals as well as my recipes, and the majority of them are Whole30 and paleo approved. I always say that the number one key to success when eating healthy is being prepared, and that means meal planning. This recipe is perfect for that. All you need to do is double up the ingredients, and then you can make 2 shepherd's pies. That way you'll have one ready for the week, and you just pop the other one into the freezer, and this recipe freezes great. So keep watching, and I'm going to show you how you can make this delicious sweet potato shepherd's pie. So before we dive in and start making the sweet potato shepherd's pie, I'm going to show you all the ingredients that you need to get started. So first you will need 2 pounds of ground meat. You can use your preference here. I will be using ground chicken, but you could use ground turkey or even extra lean ground beef. Of course, you'll need the sweet potatoes. So you'll need about 3 to 4 medium-sized sweet potatoes, 2 carrots, 2 stalks of celery, 1 small to medium-sized sweet onion, 3 garlic cloves, full fat coconut milk. Now I'm going to probably use about 1/4 cup in this recipe. Coconut aminos, which is a soy sauce substitute. 3 tablespoons of crushed tomatoes. You can use tomato paste here, but I would probably lower it to about 1 tablespoon. Coconut oil. 1/4 cup of water. Here you can use chicken stock or beef broth. Even if you have bone broth on hand, that would make the recipe even more flavorful. But for today, I am going to be using water. And for the seasoning, I have them all prepared here. We have salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, parsley, and dried thyme. And lastly, I put a little paprika aside. I'd like to sprinkle it on top of the sweet potato shepherd's pie for a prettier presentation. So now I'm going to show you all the tools that you're going to need to get started. First, you will need an 8x11 baking dish, a skillet to make your meat mixture. I will be using my cast iron skillet, but feel free to use whatever skillet you have on hand. 1 pot full of water. This will be to boil the sweet potato. You will need a cutting board to chop all of your vegetables, as well as a really good knife. Just make sure you're really careful. A vegetable peeler to peel your carrots as well as your sweet potato. Now, I really like these 2 tools when I'm making my meat mixture. This one I use to break up the meat, and this one I use more for stirring all of the ingredients in. And then you'll need something to help mash the sweet potato topping. I personally love to use my immersion blender. I find that it gives the sweet potato a really nice silky texture, but if you don't have one, that's totally fine. Feel free to, mash it by hand, or you can use your Cuisinart or whatever blender you have on hand. Before we get started, I am going to turn on the water and bring it to a boil. This will be for the sweet potatoes. And now next, we are gonna chop all our vegetables. the meat mixture for the sweet potato shepherd's pie. I'm going to turn on my stove to about medium heat. And I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. And wait for that coconut oil to melt down. And then to the coconut oil, I'm not going to add in all of the vegetables. I'm just going to put in the chopped onion as well as the chopped garlic. And we're going to cook those down until they become translucent, about 5 or so minutes. Okay, the onions look good. They are translucent in color. So now what I'm going to do is put in the raw meat. And I'm going to break this down until it is fully cooked and you no longer see any pink. Okay, the meat is now perfectly browned. Next, what I'm going to do is add in the rest of the chopped vegetables. As well as all of the seasonings that I've combined. The crushed tomatoes are going to go in there as well. And the 1/4 cup water. So now it's time to mix this thoroughly until the rest of the vegetables are tender. Okay, so the meat mixture has been simmering for about 10 minutes. The majority of the water that I've added in has evaporated. So now that the meat mixture is ready, I'm going to pour it into my baking dish. I have greased this with some coconut oil to ensure nothing sticks to the dish. So we're just going to pick this up and pour it in, and then make sure that everything is evenly distributed into the pan. And then next, the sweet potato, the timer did go off. They are fork tender and they are actually ready for the next step for being mashed. You can see here, if you put your fork right through it, it comes apart perfectly. So these are ready to be drained and then mashed, and then we're gonna put it on top of this delicious meat mixture that is making the house smell delicious. So now that the sweet potatoes are ready, I have strained them and put them back in the pot. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna sprinkle it with some salt and pepper. And I'm also gonna add in a couple tablespoons of full fat coconut milk. This is gonna give it a really nice flavor and also make the texture very creamy. And this is the part where I take my immersion blender. As I said, I think it gives it a really great consistency, but if you don't have this, you can use your hand masher, or you can use a blender or your Cuisinart. Finding that the texture is a little bit thick, so what I'm going to do is to thin it out a little bit. The little technique that I use is to add a little bit of water. So I would have to say I may be using a couple of tablespoons not a lot. You add little bits at a time to make sure that it gets to the consistency that you like. Sweet potato, as you can see, has a very creamy and silky consistency to it. So what we're gonna do now is we are gonna take the sweet potato mixture and we're gonna put it on top of the meat mixture. Before I do so, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my oven to convection for 375 degrees, and then we're gonna pop this in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. So now what I'm gonna do is take dollops of the sweet potato mixture and put it on top of the meat mixture. And now you're gonna spread it out all evenly over the mixture. Now you can make little designs and get fancy with it at this point. I like to use my spoon and just smooth it out to make it look like nice, calm water. Okay, so now that that is complete, I am gonna use a little bit of decoration and use my paprika, and I just sprinkle that all on top. It makes for a very pretty decoration. It just gives it that final touches. Okay. So now this is all finished and it's ready to be popped in the oven. Next is the best part. We're gonna give this baby a try. It looks and it smells delicious. So the timer just went off on the oven. The sweet potato shepherd's pie is ready. I'm gonna go and grab it. Let's see how it looks. Can't wait. Okay. So this is cooked perfectly. It's even a little bit browned on the top and around the edges. It is piping hot. We're gonna let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're gonna go in and give it a try. So now that it's been cooling for about 10 or so minutes, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna take a little piece, see how it looks inside. So here you can see the nice meat mixture with the creamy sweet potato. This recipe is a great alternative to the traditional shepherd's pie. It's not only delicious, but it is nutritious. And as I said, paleo, Whole30 approved. It's fabulous as a dinner option, even great as leftovers for lunch. And I'm sure that this will be one of your family favorites too. So give it a try.
It's good.